Hey, it's your Pan-African World Diaspora Champion, Trish Adora, and you are watching O-Face Wrestling.
Hey guys, it's your girl Red Velvet, and you are watching O-Face Wrestling.
Hola todos, soy la fashionista Roche Chanel, and you're watching O-Face Wrestling. Smooches!
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on O-Face Wrestling. This is your host JT, and today I'm joined by Leila Grey. So thanks for joining us today.
Hi guys, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been, a fan of some of your work. I've been seeing you on AEW Dark. I know that's a really big deal. So so I kind of want to get started with the basics at first, and I do apologize because you probably get asked this on pretty much every podcast you're on, but I don't know the answer in the story, so I gotta ask. So how did you get into wrestling?
Okay, yes, of course, the question that everybody asks. So I will say that as a kid, I did like it. I did watch it. I had a cousin that kind of introduced me to wrestling. He was a big wrestling fan, so he introduced me to it. I started watching it. I grew up always loving to wrestle with my friends and my family. But I would say later on, I was doing a lot of modeling and, just working in the entertainment business. And I started doing some ring girl work for MMA. And that just introduced me to that world of sports entertainment. And I knew that I wanted to do something, and then different things happening in my life just kind of led me to wrestling. And I'm like, I really want to do this, really want to try this. I felt like it's something that I could be good at. So I did research, found a school, and we went from there.
So I have to ask, when you mentioned that you did wrestling and all with your family and friends growing up, because it brings back memories of mine. Did you actually reenact, play music and do an entrance and actually kind of
no, we weren't that cool. We didn't take it that far, but we just loved wrestling on the mattress and stuff, pitting each other and, just jumping off of the dresser onto the bed. And it was just a lot of fun, just great memories that I have with my family. And I mean, little did I know that would become something bigger for me.
Exactly, because when I was a kid, I didn't even think about being a professional wrestler, because when I was little, I thought they were they really hated each other and they really were beating each other up. And obviously wrestling, you really are killing yourself in the ring and stuff like that. But I thought it was these people were I thought the Undertaker was this really demonic, evil person. I was like, I do not want to even think about doing that kind of stuff. When I was younger, me and my cousins used to pull out the couch bed, and we used to pretend the bed was the ring, and we would do the Royal Rumble kind of thing and try to push each other off the bed and stuff like that. So that just brought back all the memories, and it was fun, definitely fun.
Oh, how nice. Yeah. I would never forget those memories, and the fact that I ended up wrestling, I always think back on those days. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's usually how it started. I still remember I felt like such an asshole, but Mick Foley, how he had this Mr. Sock and all. I actually had a sock and I would put it in my hand, I would stick it down my cousin's mouth and stuff like that. I was like, how horrible. I don't even remember what my parents even thought.
I was evil too. I used to pin my friends down and shove socks in their mouths. I used to do evil tricks like that too. So You're not alone.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I know I was the evil cousin, and I found out when I got older that they kind of did not like me when I was younger because of how mean I was. But I was I was just a kid.
Hey, me too. Actually, I'm kind of that cousin that was just bad and malicious. That people were praying I was asleep when they came to the house.
But hey, I mean, it was fun though, right? And I think it
was good times.
Exactly.
I definitely outgrew some of that.
Yeah, I feel I haven't fully outgrown it. I still people say all the time at my job that I'm a nuisance. I'm always terrorizing and pranking everyone and stuff like that. So I feel I haven't changed.
Yeah.
So now for my next question, I like hearing these stories. So you've been wrestling, in AEW for AEW Dark and everything. So tell me about how did you get that opportunity, and also tell me about your experience wrestling with AEW.
Well, the experience has been fantastic. It's just been great. So I'm fairly new to the business. I made my debut late last year. And ever since then, I was just focused on, doing the indie stuff, promoting myself heavy on social media, because I just know the power of social media. And little did I know that one of the scouts from AEW was going to find me on Facebook. And they messaged me, asked me if I was interested. They had seen my work, and they invited me on. And I had only been wrestling for about, like, working in the business for about 5-6 months. So it was such a big surprise. I almost caught a panic attack. It was just such exciting news. But yeah, so many thoughts going through your head at that time. So then, I went, and everything has just been going so great. I've been getting callbacks, just going back. It's just been such an amazing experience for me. It's hard for me to believe that it's happening all so fast, because, you dream about this stuff and then you're not really prepared for when it starts happening. But it's been such a great experience there. I really love all the people there. It's a very great environment. There's a lot of people there that, you can talk to and learn from. And I really been enjoying it. Really been enjoying it.
Yeah, it just seems like the overall vibe that I've been hearing from AEW in general, like it just seems like a really positive environment. Everyone just is
Yes, it has
doing what
been.
they're doing.
It's so much fun being over there. Yeah.
And that's like crazy. Like you said, you got that call after only wrestling for, so, amount of months and everything like that. And I think that's like the great thing about the wrestling business right now is there's so many opportunities out there. It's, it seems that you can get your break a little bit earlier than you would if you were wrestling 5-10 years ago, because, there's not just WWE and Impact, there's, AEW now, and they're really heavy on indie wrestlers coming to their show, and they've had so many different wrestlers, whether they've been wrestling for less than a year, like yourself, or like Thunder Rosa, who's been doing it for like God knows how many years. Like it seems like they're very diverse, and everyone gets an opportunity if you're good enough. You don't have to be in there, wrestling in the ring.
Yes, absolutely. Because, that's something that I worried about a lot when I first got into business. A lot of people have been doing this since they were teenagers. And I, started this later on in life, later on in my 20s. So I'm like, I wonder how far I can get with this. And, I really didn't know what to expect. All I knew is that I loved doing it, and it was a lot of fun. And, I just was willing to give it all I got. And, now that I see things happening, it's just such a rewarding feeling, and it just pushes you to work harder. And it's so great that there's so many other companies now, that it's not just WWE. Like you were saying, there's, Ring of Honor, Impact, there's AEW now. There's a lot of great independent promotions. So people are definitely getting opportunities faster, I feel like.
Absolutely, definitely. And I have to ask too, like, as you had mentioned that you kind of had like a little bit of a panic attack, when you had that opportunity with AEW. Like, was AEW the first time you've ever like wrestled, while being basically like streamed online, or or have you done that before, like prior to AEW?
Well, there's shows, there's companies that I work for that they do stream on different services, such as like Title Match Network and Fight TV and stuff. So in terms of that, I have done shows like that before, but this was definitely, the largest scale by far in any of the other work that I have done. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking. The other companies I worked for definitely weren't hitting, YouTube numbers like AEW. So it was a big deal. I'm like, 500,000 people, millions of people are going to be watching this. So it's very nerve wracking. A lot of things go through your head. Am I ready? But, at that moment there's no time to think about that. Like, you have a great opportunity right in front of you. This is your moment. You have to go after it.
And then speaking of that, like I have to ask, because I know like AEW, WWE, it's more than just the wrestling. It's also about it's putting on a show. It's the entrance. It's, every little thing, plays a big role in, your match. So obviously AEW not just being something that's streamed and, put on YouTube and all that. It's also something that millions of people are watching. So obviously they want it to be presented a certain way. So tell me about how prepared were you, and how did, they kind of do things differently than, the previous, promotions that you work for that stream when it comes to like the camera angles and the entrance and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I was actually surprised by how easygoing things were at AEW. They make you feel really, really, really comfortable. And Dustin Rhodes, he's in charge of the women, and he's the agent for the women. And he is just so great at like reassuring you and boosting you up and giving you confidence, just directing you and, letting you know what you need to do. So, they definitely make you feel comfortable. In terms of like working with like camera angles, I have had some experience with that, but it was, a little different now. There's many different cameras now, and, you got to make sure you're facing them, capturing facials, capturing emotions. So there's a lot of things that I wasn't necessarily fully prepared for, but you kind of just got to do it on the spot. And, they try to tell you as much as you can. They do help you out a lot. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. It was good. Unfortunately for Dark, we don't, our entrances are not shown on the stream. So, but hopefully things will change later on, because I would love to show my entrance to the world.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, I personally didn't even know that, because I usually check it out on YouTube, and it'll show like clips on the matches and stuff like that. I'm one of those people. I'm cursed with having that work schedule where I have to be in bed early, so I never can watch Raw or AEW or anything like that live. So usually SmackDown's the only thing I can watch. But I do know I've seen the first few episodes of AEW Elevation, and I believe they show the entrances. Yeah, they do the entrances on that show.
They do the entrances for like their sign talents.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay. Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't realize they didn't do it for the unsigned talent. And that's the one thing too about Dark and Elevation. Like, you don't always know everyone who's signed and who's not signed.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. Because before I was a part of it, I used to watch it, and I really didn't know either who was signed and who was not.
And that's like I was talking to my friend about that too. Like, I understood like what Dark was, but I tell me, like, what's the difference between Dark and Elevation? Because I know the Elevation is kind of supposed to be like elevating and like building up new talent, I believe, but I always thought that was kind of what Dark was for, because it seems very similar. So
it does seem very similar. I feel that Dark is more to introduce new players and just give opportunities to independent wrestlers. Elevation, I feel like, takes it a step further, and there are more storylines actually involved in Elevation, and I know they have big plans for it. Who knows? There might be some titles involved in it. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I mean, that's the way that I see it. When I came on as Dark, I feel like that was an introduction, and it's kind of getting your feet wet. And Elevation just little by little is taking it a step further. So Yeah, I'm
That
really
makes
excited to
sense.
see. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Me too. I really like what AEW is doing. They're really growing fast. Like I thought it when they first came out Dark, I thought, okay, that was going to transition into a televised show. Maybe it will one day. And then when Elevation came out, I think, okay, maybe that will. But I know that they're coming out with Rampage eventually. I don't know if they've actually like had a date, but I'm thinking that
Yeah, I'm not sure they have a date, but yes, I know that's the plan. That's the plan for Rampage.
I
So
think that's pretty cool. They
let's
basically
see.
4 shows
I
now.
don't know much myself either, so I'm
Yeah.
just as excited as you are to find out what they're gonna do.
Me too. And that's like that's just like the really tough thing is since they're coming out with all these shows with AEW, WWE has all these shows as well. And there's so much wrestling, which is good because there's so many
There's so much wrestling. There's
opportunities.
something to watch every night of the week.
Exactly. I think that's pretty cool. It's just it's overwhelming at the same time if you want to watch it all, but you like kind
Yes,
of
I can see that.
because like
I can see that. Yeah,
there's so
there's
many
a lot of
wrestlers
content.
for every company that I love and I want to watch and support, but it's like, you only have so much, time with the day. But speaking of another company, I really like that you've also wrestled with that I really want to talk about on Mission Pro. So I know you wrestled
Oh
for
yes,
two of their events, I believe, on Locked and Loaded and Empty Promises.
yes. Oh my God, I've loved working for Mission so far. It's been a wonderful experience. I love being in that locker room with all these fantastic ladies. You just learn a lot from them. You grow a lot. The events are freaking off the chain. The fans are amazing. They're so into it and they're so supportive. And it's really fun to go out there, do your thing, sell some merch, and yeah, I really do love their events. I'm grateful to have been a part of that as well, because that was one of my goals. Before I had really officially stepped out and made my debut in the wrestling world, I already had my eye on Mission Pro Wrestling. I'm like, I can't wait for one day to wrestle for them,
Yeah,
and then it happened.
they're getting really big too, and I think that's great that they transitioned to doing all women's wrestling. I didn't even know they were a company before because I think Thunder Rosa said they took like a break for a little bit, but then when they came back, they decided to be all women's. But yeah, it seems like that Mission Pro Wrestling isn't just you come in and do your match and you go home. It seems like they really like build things up for like weeks leading up to the event, like with the custom matches and just all these
Yes.
things they have everyone do. And the first time I sponsored them back in or November for Tournament Out of Hell, they put your sponsors to work too. They were like reaching out to me. They're like, hey, contact these wrestlers, have them on your show. Or then they had wrestlers contacting me. It was just like, it was so fun. Like it was like I was working for them pretty much. And I loved every minute of it because, I never
Yeah.
complained about getting wrestlers on the show. So it seems like they really care about getting not just their name out there, but the wrestlers on the show. Like they really want
Yes.
to help them up.
Yes. And I really look up to Thunder Rosa. She works really hard to create these opportunities for women because, the time is now. As you can see, like women's wrestling is very hot right now. So it's amazing that she brought this platform to us, and and they're partnered with Title Match Network, so that helps a lot too in getting us exposure. And yeah, but it's definitely great what you said, how you said all the sponsors were like involved. She put you guys to work. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that was like the really cool thing because usually when I sponsor an event, they promote my brand, my podcast, and usually that's it. I sometimes I'll say, hey, can you hook me up with one of those wrestlers on your show? But that's usually it. Like the fact that they really made the sponsors feel involved as well. Like it made me feel like, like I was a part of something. Like I was also a part of the show too. And it was really great. Like,
Yes.
and Thunder Rosa, like you said, she definitely really cares about the business, the women and stuff like that. And she cares about the fans too. I met her for the first time in person last month. And she also like at the meet and greet tables, like she takes the time to really talk and get to know her fans. Like she recognized me without me even having to say nothing. I thought that's pretty cool. She gets a lot of engagements and interactions with fans, on social media and stuff. The fact that she like remembered my face, I was like, wow, like she really pays attention. And
yeah. She goes the extra step to make people feel important. And I love that about her.
Exactly. Like, and I feel like, she's basically, I look at her as like the GOAT, like a legend, basically. And not everyone will like think of her like that just because she's never wrestled for WWE, but I feel like she's like low key, like, the GOAT when it comes like the women's wrestling, greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Like she's been a workhorse for the business for so long, and like she doesn't get enough credit that she deserves. I feel like she deserves a lot more.
I agree. She's doing a lot of great things, but I think her recognition will come.
Yeah, I definitely think so too.
Yeah.
I still have that hope that maybe she'll do something like a little bit in WWE too, just to get that extra exposure too, because there's so many dream matches. I think she said before, I think it's Io Shirai she wants to wrestle. I think that would be pretty fun to watch.
I think that would be pretty fun too. Yeah, they both have that shoot style.
Exactly. I think that would be definitely a fun match. So I got 2 more questions for you. So I'm gonna, go off the grid and talk a little bit about non-wrestling. So what is one thing about yourself that is non-wrestling related that you would want fans to know? It could be something from a hobbies and interest, or maybe like an accomplishment you've had in the past, like something you would really want to share with your fans.
Something I would really like to share with my fans. Well, I mean, I like people to know that I am well-rounded when it comes to my talents. I love music. I love acting, and those are things that I was doing in the past, but I still would like to get back into it. So I like fans to know about that, and stay tuned, because at any moment I could drop something. So I'm on my YouTube. I have music and stuff like that. Music was my first passion. It really was, and I feel like my wrestling persona, my character, is kind of stems from the superstar that I always felt that I was. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I would like to get back into it. And I'm waiting to, let's see where wrestling goes. And then, bam, drop an album.
Exactly, because like a lot of people they'll get into wrestling and they'll help elevate, what else they want to do. Kind of like The Rock, how he started out with wrestling and that helped him get into Hollywood. And, you see how that's turned out for him. So yeah, wrestling could really, really help give you experience in different things that you wouldn't even think about, because wrestling, there's so
absolutely
much outside
and wrestling always comes first, but yeah, I want to be known as someone who's very versatile and has her feet wet in many different avenues. That's definitely things that I hope to accomplish. I have a lot of goals for the future, but yeah, definitely creating a brand for myself and going from there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely a great idea, especially being a wrestler, because it's very dangerous and you never know when, you might have your last match. So it's always good having, being well-rounded and having something else to fall on. And, kind of that makes me think about like the Bellas, because I know obviously they, outside of wrestling, they have, the podcast, YouTube, their wine company and TV shows. They have all these different
they're
things.
entrepreneurs. They're entrepreneurs, and that's how I see myself in the future as well. Just having different businesses, trying different things. Definitely podcasts. I have experience. I used to work in radio as well. I was a radio personality. So that's definitely something that I would, later on in life, like to try again.
Exactly. And it's good trying all these things and having all these goals now when you're young, because you may not have that time down the road too. So I think that's like definitely really good to be goal oriented and everything.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very important. Always have a backup plan.
Exactly. Now, my last and final question I have for you. So, like you said, you're still kind of, new into the business, but I'm sure you have that one opponent that you have not competed against that you just really want to go toe to toe with in the ring. So it could be anyone, Indies, AEW, Impact, WWE. Who is that one person that you just really want to get in the ring with?
I really, really, really would love to get in the ring with Sasha Banks. Of course, she is the it girl. She is my favorite. I'm definitely a big fan of hers, and she is just amazing in the ring. just when I look at the women that are signed today, I'm like, wow, these women are freaking incredible. But yeah, she really impresses me in the ring. She's very talented, and yeah, and I feel like that would be a good matchup, me and Sasha Banks. I think people would like to see that.
Yes, I would definitely like to see that. And I love when I ask that question, people say Sasha Banks, because the thing about Sasha Banks is she brings out the best in everyone. Like, I've never seen her really have a bad match. Like, regardless of who she goes against, it seems to always be like a 4 or 5 star match. And my one friend says it all the time, like, she can have a match with a mop and it still be 5 stars. Like, that's just how good she is. And
that's just how good she is. Yes. And I hear a lot of great things from people that have worked with her. She's so good at leading in the ring, and she's just so knowledgeable, knows so many things. And I would love to learn from her. I would absolutely love to learn from her. Definitely somebody that I look up to. And yeah, I definitely believes that she brings the best out of you, because she brings it. She brings her A game. You can tell how hardworking she is by her in-ring work.
exactly. And I know I feel like that held her back early in her career because she gave it everything that she has. She was kind of like killing herself every match. And I think like WWE was worried that she was gonna, injury prone and stuff like that. But I remember that match against Asuka on Raw where she like dove out of the ring and Asuka kind of did that like awkward kick. And I was like scared to death. Like, I'm like, is she really hurt? Because Sasha Banks
was she okay? I don't even remember.
Yeah, she was fine. It was like she did the suicide dive out of the ring and Asuka was outside. She like kicked Sasha in the face and she kind of stopped midair and just kind of like fell. It looked scary. It looked really scary. But yeah, like there's no one in WWE that goes like Sasha does. And I'm mad that it took them so long to really like bank on her. No pun intended, but she finally had that long title run and then got the main event WrestleMania. So I think that's great that she finally got that, opportunity.
Yeah. And I don't think things are going to slow down for her. Not just yet. I think she has other future title runs.
And I'm hoping that she wins the Money in the Bank. I know usually it's in June, but I think Hell in a Cell's in June this year. So I'm assuming maybe it'll be in July. But I really want her to win Money in the Bank and kind of brand it as like Boss in the Bank or something like that. Like I would buy that t-shirt. But yeah, I feel like she needs to get that Money in the Bank and then cash it in on someone and have a nice little title run.
All right, I would definitely like to see that. But Bianca Belair is still my girl too. So let's see what she does. I'm excited to see what she does during her title reign.
Oh yeah, me too.
She's really talented.
She is very talented, and it's crazy because she came into WWE with like no wrestling experience, and how fast she grabbed onto it. Like I feel like wrestling is one of those things where you either have it or you don't. Some people can slowly progress and become really good, but then some people it just ain't for them. Like it's not wrestling, but it was baseball. But when I was younger, there was this kid, he played baseball every year and he was bad. And it's like, you would think with all the years of experience he had that he would be decent at least. And he was just so bad. And it's like, he just didn't have an athletic bone in his body. And some people are just born that way,
Yeah, man. Not everybody's going to make it.
Exactly.
But if you love the business, there's always jobs within the business that you can have.
Yeah, there's more than just wrestling. You could be a referee, commentator, ring announcer, like agent backstage or something like that. There's
absolutely.
But Leila, that is all the questions I had for you. I just have to thank you again for joining us today on O-Face Wrestling.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again for having me. It was great speaking with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great speaking with you too. So do you want to share your social media and talk about your merch and all with all the listeners so they know where to find you?
Absolutely. So you guys can find me on social media at Miss Leila Grey. So that is MISS_ Leila Grey. That is the same handle for Instagram and Twitter. Also Facebook, Miss Leila Grey as well. You can find me. Check me out on YouTube. Search for Leila Grey. And I sell my merch on my social media. So I make announcements on my Instagram and my Twitter when I'm selling 8x10s. But yes, 8x10s are available. Autographed 8x10s are available. Just DM me and purchase, and you can have your own autographed Leila Grey 8x10.
All right, y'all. Make sure you follow her on social media. I'll put all the links below, and also make sure you DM her for 8x10. I got mine like 2 or 3 days ago, I think. And
I know. Thank you again. That
absolutely.
means so much to me. I'm so glad that you got it.
Oh yeah. I always get paranoid when I buy 8x10s now, because when I ordered like a whole bunch from a variety of different wrestlers back in December, that was when holidays and everything was basically delayed. There was some I never got, just because I guess it got lost in the mail. So I was like, I always get a little paranoid now. But yeah, I got it. I put it in my book, so I'm really happy.
Yes, thank you so much. That really made me smile.
Absolutely. And thank you again for sending it. And make sure you also give us a sub on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at O-Face Wrestling. And thank you all for tuning in. And thank you again, Leila, for joining us today on O-Face.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.